Hello everyone, good evening and welcome to Roma Theory as we discuss some Chiesa rumours and new striker name Omorodion from Atletico Madrid, who was on loan to Alaves this season. Di Marzio has some breaking news and we'll discuss them today as we delve deeper into this Roma transfer window, let's call it, don't we? This period of time where, yes, the majority of names will end up being clueless, but when somebody like Di Marzio speak, it means that there is actually something behind these deals. So that will be very, very interesting. What a beautiful light, by the way. What a very nice light in this stream today. Maybe it's because I opened this window, but really good light. Right, let's get into this. Don't forget to hit the like as always, subscribe to the channel, do all of that and it would be great. Di Marzio has some news for us regarding Chiesa. The deal which would bring Chiesa to Roma is up and alive. The meeting between Ramadani, which is Chiesa's agent, and Lina Soluku and Florent Ghisolfi was yesterday. It happened yesterday and it was a positive meeting, says Di Marzio. And then the other news rumor which he launched is that Roma have put Samu Omorodion on top of their striker list to the extent that the Fredkins are willing to spend 40 million on him because they see him as the perfect striker for this new Roma project, which I think is very interesting because, I mean, I'll discuss it more in depth, of course, but if they are up at spending 40 million for one single player, then great. But there are some buts, and we'll get into this. As always, let me know what you think. Do you think this Chiesa deal is going to happen? That's my question to everybody in this stream. Let me know in the live chat. Do you think Chiesa will be a Roma player? So, let me know. Yes or no answer. Do interact in the chat. If you've got some questions, I'll have some time today to answer them all. And yeah, feel free to let me know your comments and opinionate in the chat, of course. The first thing which I want to talk about is Chiesa. Positive meeting. That's very important because over these past days we were told that the deal, the agreement that this potential deal that could have brought Chiesa to Roma would have kind of slowed down because Juventus had fixed the price, which was very high for Roma standards. And then some sources were saying how Conte is a big admirer of Chiesa and would definitely want him at Napoli, and therefore he phoned Chiesa and Chiesa was thinking about moving to Napoli and all of that. Well, Di Marzio yesterday evening has said that the meeting went actually really well. That Chiesa is interested and curious and he's attracted by this Roma project. However, the deal is a deal which will take time. And Di Marzio also added that Chiesa would like to end the Euro 2024 campaign tournament before making up his final decision. Also to test his fitness, his current levels, because the Euros, the European tournament is his tournament. A few years ago, he was the number one player which made us win that European tournament, bagging goals over goals, some very good goals. So he wants to test himself. He's fully focused on this Euro 2024, and after the Euro 2024, he will make up his final decision, which I think it's good. I mean, it's logical. He's not focused on Roma right now. He's focused on Italy, and it should be. But the positive here is that the meeting was a positive meeting. The agent and Chiesa himself have not closed the door on Roma's face. They want to wait. It will take time, but Chiesa is attracted by this Roma project. I think the biggest thing to kind of withdraw from this is, again, we are going to see, especially in this first summer, I think, again, this is my opinion, it might be very, very wrong, but I think the first summer of the new manager is the summer window where the owner and the board are gonna back De Rossi the most. It's kind of what usually happens, even in Mourinho's first year. Mourinho's first summer window was the summer window where he got backed the most. Because Roma got Rui Patricio, which he really wanted. Roma got Tammy, spent a lot of money on Tammy. And it was kind of the summer window where the players which Mourinho wanted the most actually happened. Then moving forward, he got less and less backed. This is a similar situation, I think. I think this summer, the Fredkins are going to try and back De Rossi as much as they can. Obviously, they can't just give him whatever he wants, but they will try and satisfy his demands as much as possible. The question here is, will they back him in January? Will they back him next June or July? Or is it just one of those backings which goes, oh, well, he's new, the enthusiasm is high, he just extended his contract, let me back him now, and then I'm not going to back him anymore. That is what kind of we need to avoid, because that is ultimately what sent Mourinho down the bus, down the hole. So I think we're going to back them. Whoever comes in, again, De Rossi might be sacked, whoever the next manager comes in needs to be backed. That's the most important thing moving forward, and we've learned from this. We've learned from this, from past experiences. So, you know, I think they're going to try their best to back him. Also, a right back, which De Rossi and Ghisolfi are very interested in, Thiago Santos from Lille. He's a very interesting player. I would love to see him in our team. He's kind of the profile of a right back that we need. So if we can land that Thiago Santos deal from Lille, which is a player which Ghisolfi and De Rossi both agreed on, if the Fredkins back them and backs De Rossi on that right back front as well, I think it would be a really good shout. But again, I think the number one thing with Chiesa is time. Now, you know what the problem here is? The problem here is that as Irv says in the chat, Irv Jomo, we and as Roma fans, we really need to try and hope that Chiesa doesn't have a good Euro 2024. Because, to be honest with you, I agree with Irv, who says in the chat, if Chiesa has a good Euro 2024, then of course Juventus will exploit this and they will higher the price tag, and adding on to this, the competition will rise. So, playing devil's advocate here, we, the Roma fans, I'm Italian, so I mean, nation, Italy, hope we win the Euros, I hope Chiesa has a great tournament. But from a Roma fan point of view, we really need to hope that Chiesa doesn't pop off in the Euros. Because if Chiesa has half the performances that he had in Euro 2020, then yeah, forget about him. Like, absolutely forget about them. Forget about him, because somebody like Liverpool will get into the race and sign him. So I also do think that this Euro 2024 is not only important for him, because he needs to get his back, the fitness that he's used to back going. This season has not been a successful season for Chiesa. He scored a few goals, had a great performance against us, typical, but other than that, he did not have a good season. He and Allegri fell out. Allegri kind of used him in a position which doesn't satisfy what Chiesa does. So that definitely took some attention out of him. But Chiesa isn't coming from a massive season, so not only he himself will use this Euro 2024 to boost himself again, but Juventus will definitely use his Euro 2024 performances to come up with a final price tag, and I think that's very important for us. So, all eyes on Chiesa. We need to see how he does, because it will definitely influence this move. Omorodion has 8 goals and 34 appearances. I prefer David all the way, says Dachi. Greenwood to Juventus, says ZX Tradex. I don't know. Is he going to go there? I haven't followed many Juventus news. Maybe. I thought it was linked with them. Who do you think will win the Golden Boot for the Euros? Mbappe. Yeah, Mbappe. Either Mbappe or Kane. Or Cristiano. Yes. I'm not delusional. That man's the GOAT. Daisimo, I still am unsure on what is the budget for Roma in this transfer market. Hopefully we get bright talents which can help the team. I'm getting positive vibes from this transfer market. I think budget is going to be 30 to 40 million from their own pockets. I think the Fredkins are going to put 30, 35, 40 million on the table and then add on to that the money that we get from sales. So if we sell Tammy and sell him for 20, 25 million, add that on the budget. If we sell Zaleski for 10 million, add that to the budget. If we sell Chilik, add that. Patricio, Awar, yeah. So we will definitely need to sell some players, because if we don't sell some players, the budget that the Fredkins are going to put is not going to be enough to rebuild the team. So there will definitely have to be some sacrificable players. By the way, speaking of Zaleski, he's coming from a great game. I know it was a friendly game, but that man with Poland really turns into an incredible player, which just puts to mind that, unfortunately, he's another example of a player that us fans, Roma fans, have burnt. Yeah, unfortunately, I do think we've burnt him, kind of like with Tammy, similar to Tammy. But just like Juventus will use Chiesa's Euro 2024 performances to come up with a price tag and try and get as much money from him, I think the same valid opinion can be made with us and Zaleski. We will definitely use Zaleski's performances as a way to increase the value and get more money. People say keep Zaleski, you never know, he performs great with Poland. Part of me agrees, but we will need to sell somebody, and I think if the money comes, we will sell him, and I think we should sell him, because I believe that we should give time to players. And look, I'll be honest, we definitely made mistakes with Zaleski. Not only us fans, let's be clear, but us fans are definitely not being patient enough with him. But he's reached that stage in Rome, similar to Tammy, where he's kind of burnt. And the only way to revitalize his career for him is to leave. So if he has a great Euro 2024, maybe we could even get 20 million for him. I'm not even joking, he's very young. His contract doesn't expire. So there's nothing that can stop us, if he has a successful Euro 2024, to ask 20 million from him. We can't. There's nothing that can stop us. There's nothing that can stop us. So, yeah, definitely see how Zaleski does in this Euro and come up with a conclusion with him. Right, Omorodion. Di Marzio said that Rome have started contacts with Omorodion's, what's his name again? Omorodion. Yeah, Omorodion's agents. Roma have seen him, pictured him as the perfect striker for this new project. He's expensive, yes he is. Apparently he's around 40 million. Di Marzio has said that the Fredkins would be willing to spend 40 million on him to satisfy the striker need. But the other thing that Di Marzio said is that this guy, Omorodion, wants to wait to see if Atletico Madrid kind of wants to keep him, because he was on loan to Alaves. He scored 8 goals in 34 appearances with Alaves. So Samu Omorodion, he wants to see if Atletico Madrid have any chances of keeping him. If they do want to keep him, then it's not happening. But I don't think, with the way Simeone wants to play, I don't think they want somebody like somebody young like Omorodion. I think the number one thing you look at here is the fact that the Fredkins are willing to spend 40 million. Now let's be honest. If the Fredkins are willing to spend 40 million, then it should not be on this guy. Like, it shouldn't. It's a massive risk. And don't get me wrong, it might be a great deal. It might be an incredible deal. He might be an incredible player in the future. He might turn out into becoming the new Osimhen. His physique, his height, his power suggests that he's a very interesting talent. But what I'm here to say is, if if the Fredkins have said that they're willing to spend 40 million on a single player, my take here, it should not be on him. If you're willing to spend and want to spend on a striker, he might be a very interesting player, and it might satisfy the criteria of the project we want to bring towards this club. But it's a lot of money for a player who scored 8 goals in 34 appearances with Alaves, and the player which Atletico Madrid have got some doubts on. If a club like Atletico Madrid has got some doubts on Omorodion, my analogy here is, if he's the new Osimhen, why wouldn't Atletico Madrid want to keep him? And these are things you need to consider. If he's an incredible talent, why do big teams, why haven't they scouted him? Because he's young, he's 1 year older than me. And why haven't they shown interest towards him? That's my only fear here. 40 million is a lot of money. With 40 million, you can get a very good striker. Like, out of all the strikers that we've been linked with, I saw Jonathan David being linked with us. I saw Santiago Jimenez being linked with us. I saw Icardi being linked with us. I even saw Morata being linked with us. Out of all these strikers, choosing to spend the most amount of money on him, I've got no problem against him, but it's a risk. I see a very, very strong similarity in the Tammy Abraham deal back in 2021. Very big. We spent, 40 million on Tammy back in 2021. He had a great season, really good season, and nothing will make me forget that season. But we've seen Tammy in year 2, and we've seen Tammy in a quarter of year 3. And these last 2 years, he's not been good enough. And we will never make a profit from him because we will never sell him for 40 million unless a mental, mad Premier League side comes in and offers 40 million for him. So, look, I like the profile. I like the profile of an emerging striker, even though, as I said multiple times, I would rather get a proven striker up front and spend the money on him. I'm starting to understand that this is not what the Fredkins want to do. They want to get somebody young, invest right now, and be a long-term investment. And this idea for this new project suits. You know, if they want to start from scratch, cut the wages, young players, non-injury prone, then you should probably be a name you should consider. And it's understandable that if this is a project, we would be interested in somebody like him rather than somebody like Icardi. Completely understandable. And I'm not mad with the profile. I think the profile of this emerging striker is interesting. But the money is a lot of money. 40 million for somebody who comes from 8 goals and 34 appearances with Alaves and Atletico Madrid have got some uncertainties in keeping is a risk. And are we in a position to spend 40 million on a player that has zero certainty? I think it's risky. I think it is risky. So, yeah. But again, if this is the direction we want to go in, then gather up names and come up to conclusions. Don't just spend 40 million on him without taking consideration other names. De Rossi, sit down. Dan, sit down. Gisolfi, sit down. Put a list of all the strikers you are interested in which satisfy your project and your ideas. Put the costs, and surely you will find somebody with similar characteristics as him that can cost less. Because 40 million is not, you know, it's not, oh, well, spend 40 million on him. We ain't Real Madrid. We're not in a position to spend 40 million on him and then get absolutely ghosted from him. We are not. We need to back our striker choice. which is a massive position to cover in this window, because Lukaku ain't staying, Tammy will probably leave. We need somebody, if not two players, in fact, surely two players if Tammy leaves, that can be not too expensive, but that the amount of money you spend for them can be then converted into the stats, performances, consistency on the pitch. And that's what I'll say. Yeah, definitely. I believe we'll get Chiesa. Hello, Jules Cools. I have a high chance Chiesa will come to Roma, but in the same time I say he'll go to another club. I hope he comes to Roma. Ciao Simo, Dio santo, tutti sti nomi che stanno uscendo adesso mi fanno mettere la faccia nelle mani. 40 milioni per Omorodion sarebbe un affare peggio di Chic, Nzonzi, Pastore, tutti messi insieme. Will they talk about this deal during the Euros or after the Euros? They've already started talks for this deal. Now, let's be clear. Roma is not the only club interested. The agent who traveled to Italy this week will have talks with Napoli as well. And then he will refer everything to Chiesa. And after the Euros, Chiesa will come up with a final decision. Roma is not the only club interested in Chiesa. So, yeah, I think Chiesa right now is focused on the Euros as he should. So I think if this deal happens, it happens start of August. Because, look, whenever the Euros end, the players who went to the Euros will probably have 1 week of holiday. And that's like mid-July, end of July. And then it's the deal which is going to take time. So if we get Chiesa, it's probably going to be like Lukaku last year. Maybe not as late, but definitely not early. Long story short, if we get Chiesa, he will definitely not be there for the majority of preseason. Actually, how much Roma can spend in the transfer market with the fair play stuff? As I said before, I think 30 to 40 from their pockets, and then the money we get from sales. FFP has definitely allowed more freedom this summer. Appropriate club for someone like a Greenwood. Apparently Greenwood gave green light to Juve, which would mean Chiesa exits. I feel like this is wrong. I mean, we really need a star player because in my opinion, these players aren't really better than Lukaku and Azmoun. We should just stay with them. Awar also scored, by the way. I hope he gets back into his prime and we can sell him, says Roma fan number 1. Inter on Dybala. No, it's been denied. It's fake news. It's been denied. Santiago Jimenez is very good, but he's from Feyenoord. I can't imagine Feyenoord negotiating fairly with Roma. I think either David or Omorodion is very good for Roma's current situation. Well, look, I mean, at the end of the day, Jimenez is a professional football player. Like, if you're a professional football player, you don't just turn down a call from Roma just because you were absolutely annihilated by them. Like, if you're a professional football player, you should probably consider picking up the phone and at least listening to what Roma offer. Because if somebody bases their career on rivalries and shithousery, then he'll end up staying at Feyenoord the rest of his career. And surely he doesn't want that because they can't even win a game against us. I think we should give Tammy one more chance since he came back from a 9-month injury. I agree, but not as a first striker. I saw Omorodion highlights and he seems physical and pacey, which are good for Roma, says Roma fan. Yeah, we'll see how this situation develops. Di Marzio tends to have a lot of news around Roma these days, so yeah, I tend to just go live and react to the news that Di Marzio posts. Not every rumor, because as I said yesterday, a lot of them are going to be bullshit. So yeah, I'm going to catch you tomorrow. Don't forget to hit the like, subscribe to the channel. Let me know in the comments your thoughts and opinions on Chiesa, Omorodion, Thiago Santos right back, and the Euros are starting, so let me know if you're buzzing and who you think is going to win. Yeah, hit the like, subscribe, follow Roma Theory TV on Instagram, and I'll talk to you soon. Tomorrow. Take care. See you out.